In our first lesson, we're going to be asking and answering the question, what is God like? Can we know God? Can we really know Him? Can we really know what God is like? Can we know God? Back in the 70s, there was a best-selling book that came out titled Knowing God by J.I. Packer. Now, here's a book that got a little closer to actually having a relationship with the Creator of the universe. Packer's book was an all-time classic by a great theologian. Have you ever had somebody you really liked and wanted to get to know? For example, you wanted to be friends and to be around that person or hang out with that person, but as much as you tried and tried, that person would not allow you to get any closer to them or to know them. That person would not allow you to be their friend or even penetrate their world. You know the frustration yourself when you really wanted to know somebody and they didn't want any part of you. But God has made Himself known in many different ways throughout history. The Apostle Paul, for example, speaking to a crowd, said in the book of Acts chapter 14-17 that God has not left Himself without a witness or evidence of Himself. The Apostle Paul pointed to the goodness of God, His mercy, His provisions, food and rain, and all the things necessary to live. The New Living Translation reads, "But He never left Himself without a witness. There were always His reminders, such as sending you rain and good crops, or giving you food and joyful hearts." The Apostle Paul would state to a crowd in Athens, Greece, the center of idolatry, that God's providence, His hand and His presence in sustaining life and dividing the nations argued for His existence as well. But what are some of these evidences for the existence of God? Theologians refer to God's revelation of Himself by the terms natural revelation or special revelation. Now, natural revelation would be God revealing Himself, for example, through nature. Even nature itself does reveal the evidence of a creator. There's a big debate in theology today and apologetics, but it's nonetheless true. The creation does bear evidence of a designer of some kind. Nature seems to be the silent witness, but it is a voice at that, and it accomplishes what God wants it to accomplish. For example, the psalmist wrote, "The heavens tell the glory of God, and the skies display His marvelous craftsmanship. Day after day they continue, to night after night they make Him known. They speak without a sound or a word. Their voice is silent in the skies, yet their message goes out to all the earth, and their words to the end of the world." Psalm 19, 1-4. The Apostle Paul himself wrote in Romans 1 that because of nature, men have evidence of God. He wrote, "For the truth about God is known to them instinctively. God has put this knowledge in their hearts, and from the time the world was created, people have seen the earth and all that God has made." Nature itself reveals that there's a God, but nature and providence and creation stop at that point. They don't tell us, as Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story. And here's where special revelation now comes in. You see, nature may tell us that there's a creator. We may look up at the stars and see there is evidence. But nature doesn't tell us the plan of salvation or how God even saves us. Nor does it tell us of our destiny, our plan and purpose that God has in life, or what God's will for us is. For that information, we must depend on other revelations from God. So in contrast to nature, we call this revelation special revelation. In other words, God revealing to us what we would not ordinarily know on our own. The great thing is God has certainly allowed Himself to be known and for us to know Him, and He has allowed us to even approach Him. Actually, if you want to know the truth, God took the initiative Himself. He revealed Himself in many ways in the Old Testament to His people. He revealed Himself through prophets, sometimes through visions. Sometimes He spoke in dreams, for example, Sometimes he would speak in an audible voice, as we know in the days of Samuel, when he called Samuel by an audible voice. Sometimes God would make appearances of himself, etc., as he did at the burning bush. Of course, it was God that took the initiative every time to reveal himself or some aspect of his will to us. Secondly, we do know that he revealed himself in the person of Jesus Christ. So how can we know God? We can know him and approach him through his Son, Jesus Christ. Again, it was God who took the initiative to send his only begotten Son. In that case, like the previous, we did not approach God. He took the initiative himself. Why? Well, the Bible is very clear. For God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son. And God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. John 3:16 and 17. So not only did he reveal himself through prophets, through visions, through dreams, etc., he revealed himself through the person of his Son. And third, he reveals himself in his Word, the Bible. The Bible is specifically how God speaks to us today primarily. God chose specific individuals to adequately record what he wanted us to know and what his will is for us today. We call this, in biblical terminology, inspiration. And that means the recording of truth that God wanted known. All of these things, dreams, visions, prophets, even Jesus, the Bible, theologians refer to as special revelation. We not only know there is a God, but we know all about God. We know he is a personal God who wants to know us as well. As a matter of fact, it was God that took the initiative to reveal himself in all of these cases. So the answer to our question at the beginning, can we know God? Yes, we can know God, and here's why. Because God has certainly made himself known to us in ways that demand a response from us. So whether it be our natural world that we see every day, or God's goodness in providing us life, breath, sunshine, even rain, or even through the Bible or in his Son, God has made himself known to us in all these examples. And God certainly wants to know us. So in our next segment, we're going to be seeing a little bit of what God is like and his characteristics, his attributes. As a matter of fact, he has attributes and characteristics just like we do. So more importantly, we're going to see that God is a very personal God in our next segment.